horror time. We're going to be doing a what is called a horror tag. I got this tag from the famous Amy McLean, author and film vlogger. I took this knife from Chucky here. Oh no, actually I took it from his bride, Tiffany, right here. She's a little mad at me, so... But I'll give it back to her. Here you go. Put it in your jacket. Chucky's got his knife. I thought I'd bring him along for the film vlog. Alright, so we're gonna start with my favorite gore, which would be The Devil's Rejects. Let me tell you guys first, I'm not a big horror or gore film fan. I do have my select few. Gory is not my favorite, but this one I can handle. I actually have the movie to this one. Some of the ones we're going to be talking about I don't have the movie to, but this one I do. I can rewatch this one over and over. It's a Rob Zombie film. Sherry Moon here. That's Rob Zombie's wife, in case you wanted to know. But basically it's, you know, about a family that just murders and dismantles people's bodies, and they just do crazy stuff. My favorite of this is the great rock and roll music that they play throughout the film. So that's, I think, what got me. All the other Rob Zombie movies, though, I'll take a pass on. So that's my favorite gore. Then we're gonna go on to favorite horror theme. So a theme of horror that I like is Chicago theme, because I am from Chicago, and luckily there's a lot of movies that I like, even horror movies, that were filmed in Chicago, like my buddy over here, Child's Play 2, Mr. Chucky. And this came out in 1990. I only liked the first and the second Child's Play, and then after that I really didn't like any of the other Chucky movies. The first one might have been filmed in Chicago, but I'm not exactly sure. If you know, let me know in the description, not in the description, in the comment section below. And was based in Chicago, or filmed in Chicago, and also Candyman, which is another one of my favorite. This is a Chicago classic. It's quite gory as well, a little older, but this is always a good watch. I love Candyman, and that is based in Chicago. A couple other ones that are based in Chicago, 2005, the Amityville Horror, 2009's Nightmare on Elm, and 2011's The Rite with Anthony Hopkins, which I think it was a really good, underrated movie that was filmed in Blue Island. My favorite psychological film, which was a hard one for me to choose, but I went ahead with The Shining. This is a classic. This is 1980s. Director Stanley Kubrick, from the Stephen King novel. Jack Nicholson, he takes his family to an isolated hotel. I like the fact that it's brings the fear of murder from, you know, someone that you trust. Your own family member. Comedy horror. Alright, so this one was hard for me to choose too. Freddy VS Jason. Maybe it was stupid, but I still love it. I could rewatch it over and over. A sense of comedy to it, always with Freddy Krueger. And then Jason is probably one of my favorite masked horror characters, because he's so silent and deadly, and Freddy Krueger, he's a chatty Cathy, so I like the silent type. Favorite shock films. So shock films was hard for me to get into too. I really didn't understand. I mean, a lot of movies are shocking to me that are not just horror, so I went with these two. Suicide Club. If you're very weary about watching suicidal type movies, this is not a watch for you. Detective trying to figure out this weird string of suicides that's going on in Japan. I watched it like maybe 4 years ago for the first time, and I loved it. I was like, wow, I've never seen a movie like this. It's international. I love international foreign films. I watched it maybe like a couple months ago, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I thought I liked this movie so much. I had to turn it off. It is pretty brutal. If you don't like seeing animals get beat or people being raped. I put this as one of the shock films, or yeah, because of, you know, how shocking it shocked me when I saw it at first. And then I also put Hannibal Rising. This is my favorite Hannibal movie of all the Hannibal Lecter based movies. It's about young Hannibal, what made him become Hannibal Lecter, basically. And it takes place in a lot of European, you know, countries over there. So I put this as a good shocking film. The good shocking film. Definitely rewatchable. Alright, let's move on to films that scare me. So these ones I do not have in my collection. I picked The Craft, which was, I don't know what year that one was from. The Craft. I was always scared of those witches in high school because the one popular girl that used to pick on one of the witches, she put like a curse for her hair to fall out. And so there's this scene where her hair is just falling out in the shower and it keeps falling out and falling out. And I was like, man, I would never want that to happen to my hair. So that kind of gave me a freak out. And then I also, films that scare me are like The Descent, Hostel, Turistas, which took place in like Brazil, and the other one, Hostel, took place in Europe. So those ones are more like, you know, you go to other countries. That makes me scared to go to other countries of getting kidnapped and taking my body parts and things like that. Or like the girlfriends that met in the Appalachians in the Descent. You know, going cave diving or whatever the heck they were doing. So, you know, just doing things like that I'd like to do in real life, but might end up getting my body parts taken and sold. So, movies like that, those are my favorite films that scare me. The last horror that I watched was Don't Breathe, which came out in 2016. Creators of The Evil Dead and director Fede Alvarez. Very good movie. I actually have that one right here for you. I would probably put this more as a thriller because it's just, you know, it has that thrill effect to it, but it is rated R because there's a lot of twists and turns that were kind of unexpected. It's kind of twisty. But it does say Best American Horror Film in 20 years, so I'm going by the cover here, so I put this as a horror. And then, besides that, I did watch this one on YouTube. It's a 1989 film called Clownhouse. So it is a decent movie. My pillow keeps falling. But it's about three young brothers alone in a big house that get menaced by some mental patients that killed off some circus clowns and took over their costumes and then started, you know, menacing this family. These poor little kids, well, 3 kids. The older brother was kind of a jerk, but they had these clowns chasing them through the house. So that kind of gave me a fright, like, I can't imagine, like, the way they filmed it just through the house, you know, of a clown running right behind you up the stairs, like, that would freak me out. I'm not too scared of clowns like most people, but that definitely would freak me out. The director, I don't know his name, but he also directed Jeepers Creepers, which is a pretty good movie, too. And before that, when he made Clownhouse, he actually was convicted of molesting the youngest boy actor in that Clownhouse movie, but actually, you know, went on to make Jeepers Creepers, so that's the kind of twisted thing about that. Alright, let's move on because there's still a couple here. All-time favorite horror. So this one's very hard to pick because There's just so many. I like so many different genres of horror, and you know, the thrillers. You know, there would have to be like a category for each horror, but I'm just gonna go with the classic Exorcist with Linda Blair and Stephen King's It, because those are classics. You could always watch them. I'm excited for the new It coming out. I'm gonna do a review of that movie. It comes out tomorrow at midnight. I'm gonna try to go to the midnight release and get a review for you guys on that one. Alright, next we got all-time favorite horror character. This was another one that was kind of hard, but I'm gonna go with my foster child, Chucky. Because he's so cool, he's so fun. You know, he's been in my room for like 4 years. He actually, you know, sleeps in my room, so. We got most underrated film. I picked the movie Ghost Ship. I really love that movie. I love ship movies in general, but this one is about a long-lost 1962 passenger ship that, what was it, the Bering Sea, that it was floating lifeless in. It was lost for 40 years, and so this group of people obviously go searching for, I don't know what the heck they were searching for, but they just, on the radar, there's nothing in the distance, and all of a sudden a ship pops out of nowhere and they crashed right into it. So of course they go on board ship, they find gold, and they find lots of other scary surprises. But I love all the ghosts in it, and all the the water theme, just being on a ship and, you know, not being able to get off because your boat is damaged, and it's a good one if you haven't seen it, so I would put that as my most underrated. Alright, worst horror films. This is the last one too. I got a few for this one. We're gonna start with Zombeaver, which is dumb. I'll never watch again, but I did play a drinking game to it with my friend, which was pretty funny. We had to drink for like any sexual innuendos, any nudity that happened, when a beaver breaks through a window, anytime someone dies. So we were pretty kind of smashed after that movie, because a lot of that happened. But that was a dumb movie. But what I'd rather watch Zombeaver than watch the Human Centipede. I will never watch that again. I probably turned that off 25 to 30 minutes in. That is just disgusting. And anybody who watches that movie, I'm sorry, but you're twisted. Like, the most twisted I could go is Saw and stuff like that. That movie is sick. No, that's nasty. I also picked, which is a watchable one, which I would watch again, is 2001's Bones with Snoop Dogg. I think this is hilarious, and I don't know, just as a kid, Jimmy Bones, Snoop Dogg scared me, because this movie came out in 2001. I was only like 11 years old, and I don't know, it was just funny that Snoop Dogg scared me, so I put this as a worst movie, but I would rewatch this one for sure. One that I will never watch again, and I got this one for 50 cents at like Best Buy, which is so weird. They had a bunch of them for 50 cents. Jason Goes to Hell, one of my favorite masked horror mans. That's the worst. I will never watch that again. It made no sense. Just don't watch it, guys. And another one that I don't have, 2006, The Breed. It was about some college kids going to an island, and then, of course, some unexpected ravenous dogs start attacking and killing them off one by one, and until they find out that there's like some weird training facility on this island for these dogs that these weird people were doing. So it was kind of a really bad movie. That was the last one. There we go, cool. I'm sorry, I do have to take notes. This is my first time doing movie reviews like this, and actually me looking into the camera is something I have to practice as well. So thank you for your patience. I hope you did enjoy. Like this video if you sure did enjoy it. It would help me out a great deal. Be subscribed to keep up to date with more film things like this, reviews, book hauls, all sorts of things. I'm gonna go ahead and extend this tag to everybody else, and thank you Amy McLean for extending that tag. It was an awesome tag. Bye.